everybody, this is the Sliders Review. I'm here today to talk about Black History Month, the month that is a celebration of my people, because I am a black man and everything. And it's about all our accomplishments, all the oppression that we have gone through over like centuries of living in like America and stuff like that. And even till this day, we are still being oppressed. And so I'm here today to talk to you about certain characters or TV shows or episodes that revolve around Black History Month that I personally enjoy. So I'm here today to talk to you about Static Shock Season 4, Episode Fallen Hero. So this is an episode where Jon Stewart, Green Lantern, guest stars, his second appearance on Static Shock. And, I've been wanting to do like a Jon Stewart Green Lantern video for my Black History videos for the longest time, but it's really hard trying to find one with him in it that shows him in a good light. See, Jon Stewart was the very first Green Lantern I've ever seen, and he's only ever appeared in the Justice League cartoon Static Shock and briefly in Young Justice. Other than that, he's been very absent from a lot of DC stuff, which is very shocking. I get it, when Bruce Timm first introduced the first Green Lantern in the DC animated universe, it was Kyle Rayner. People at that time was happy to see. And then when they had the Justice League cartoon, they wanted more diversity, so they brought in Jon Stewart, which pissed off the fan base. Because, of course, oh no, we don't want the black superhero. We want the person that we root for and everything. And so, after that, he's just, disappeared because they went back to the beginning and brought back Hal, which makes sense because if you're going to have a hero on the show, might as well bring in the first incarnation, you know what I'm saying? And so but they've been doing a lot of stuff with Hal and just forgot all about Jon Stewart and stuff, which is really depressing and everything because for most people he was the first Green Lantern they saw on television. But like I said before, when they had him on the show, it's kind of almost every episode he's in, he's just really grumpy and rude. And even the creators mentioned, they all man, he was such a jerk when we wrote him in the first season and stuff. And so when I started thinking about his solo episodes in Justice League, they're good episodes, but they're not great. Either he's weak and has to regain his strength, or that one. Okay, so it's the first time he had a solo episode was a really cool one. The Manhunter showed up, but he was on trial because he supposedly blew up a planet and killed a bunch of people. And so so he just gave up without a fight and went on trial. And they're like, all right, fine, punish me and everything. And they were gonna execute him. He didn't even try to fight for to prove his innocence and stuff. He just thought he was guilty as well. But it was the Justice League members that had to prove his innocence and shown that it was a fake planet and everything. And then after that, he defeated the Manhunters in a really cool way. But at that same time, that episode shows him just giving up without trying to fight and see if this could have been a ruse or not. And then another solo episode is when he lost his powers and he went to go look for his lover in the comic books. I think her name is Ratatouille or something like that. And so he finds her, she's doing undercover stuff. He loses his power, he loses his will to want to be a Green Lantern, and they have to recoach him and everything. And then there's that Despero thing, and it's just whatever. And then of course after that is just that one with the Shadow Thief, and they show the backstory of him and Hot Girl, and it's just you know what I'm saying? So it was it's hard to find a good episode. But then I was thinking, I'm just oh wait a minute, I remember that one from Static Shock. And so that was a pretty good episode, so I'll talk about that. And here we are. So in this episode, we see Jon Stewart just whooping on the cops and everything. He's in the exchange of well, he doesn't have gunfire. They have gunfire, but he has laser beams and stuff. And it's whoa, what is going on? Why is he like fighting with the cops? And then we see him breaking into a bank and stealing gold bars. And it's like, okay, is he brainwashed or something? Because the way he's acting is very robotic, and the way he's talking is kind of robotic. But then there's something's weird. It's like, how is his ring able to pick up those gold bars? The gold bar should have like fell through. And so it's like weird. We don't know what happened. So this is the last season of Static Shock, when they had like the new intro, the new outfit and everything. And Gear is his partner. And this is when they started showing like the members of the Justice League a whole lot more in Batman Beyond. And so we see Static, he's like watching we see Virgil, he's watching the news, and we see like what's going on with like John, and he doesn't believe it like at all, but his father and sister do. And he's all like, no, like Green Lantern's a hero, blah, 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 and stuff like that. And I don't care what you say, because he fought alongside him with the Justice League members to take down Brainiac. So at some point in time, he's with Gear, and they're like suited up and they're flying around, and Gear, Richie's all like, sometimes heroes fall and they change sides and stuff, and Virgil still doesn't want to believe that and everything. But then it's interesting because we see John Stewart again. He's on like a train, and he like stole away, and he jumps off, and he's wearing like a trench coat, and his uniform's all like tattered, and he has like a 5 o'clock shadow. He's looking like a hobo and everything. So we're kind of like, okay, this can't be the same one we saw before. So something's up. But what exactly is up, right? So then we see the other Green Lantern, the imposter one, and he's stealing a bunch of microchips. So Gear and Static, like, they fight him, but they're no match for him. And so they get their butt whoops, and Richie almost dies and everything. So now it's at this point, since Static has saw it for himself, he's all like, screw Green Lantern and everything. Like, I thought you was a good guy, but you ain't my hero no more. Now, what's interesting about this is that both Static and Green Lantern are voiced by the same person, Phil Lamar. That blew my mind when I found that out. And so it's basically like he's just talking to himself in this episode. And so, like, so after that, like, he's just done thinking of John as like a hero. And he even tells his father that. And his father is now turned to a different side. Like, you don't know what he's going through, and maybe you should, like, have an open mind. But Virgil doesn't want to no more. So at some point in time, we see the real John Stewart with the beard, and he confronts the imposter because he was able to shoot him down out the sky. And he tells him straight up, we find out that it's actually Sinestro. He has impersonated himself as like Green Lantern. Now, one part that's a little confusing is that if you're not familiar with the comic books, he tells Sinestro, I can't believe the Guardians ever gave you a ring. So I'm assuming, oh, this is what Sinestro has, because he still has a green ring on and the green aura and everything. And so, like, he's all like, all the power in the world. And they thought I wanted to be a good guy and everything. He's like, nah, he wants to control everything. And so they fight some more, but he tells John, like, your ring hasn't been charged and all this other stuff, and I stole your battery and blah, 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 and stuff like that. And so he gets his butt whooped, and then at some point in time, Gear and Static, they find the impersonated Green Lantern again. And so they fight him, but in comes John. Like, he and Sinestro sees him on the ground, so he plays like the switcheroo and everything. So now Static and Gear think that the real John is evil and everything, so they fight him. And Static has just lost it. He is furious, and he puts a hurting on John big time and electrocutes the crap out of him. And so John is like pleading with him, but to no avail. He gets like arrested, and he's in the back of a car. And when we see him in the back of the police like thing, we see he doesn't have his ring on no more. So I assume the cops took it. But then we see Sinestro, and he tells John, "Give me your ring." But when he searches for it, he sees the ring is not on him. And so he's like, where did you hide it? And John's all like, why do you want my ring for? You already have my power inside your yellow ring. And so then Sinestro shows him his collection of gold Green Lantern rings that he's been collecting. Don't know if he just stole them off Green Lanterns or if he killed them and everything. And so we see Static and he's talking to Gear. Gear's now fixed his suit and they're flying around, or they're talking on the rooftop, and Static says, he still can't believe his hero has fallen and everything. And so he said he'll like catch him later, but he's gonna head home. And when he takes out his hoverboard thing, Green Lantern ring comes out his jacket pocket. And so they don't understand how it got there. And then so Virgil starts to think, wait a minute, when John was pleading with Virgil, he grabbed him by the jacket and he placed his ring in his pocket. So Virgil wants to know why, and he finds the police car that he's in. And John tells him what happened. The Justice League got a distress call, nobody else was there, so he went alone. When he found the astronaut in space, that's when the ruse happened of like Sinestro and attacked him, stole his green energy and absorbed it in his yellow ring. And so Virgil believes him and feels that he should have trusted John when he first tried to tell him and everything, because that's the problem with a lot of stuff, is that people get accused of stuff but nobody wants to hear the truth. And so then of course Static confronts Sinestro and they fight one more time. And the reason for that is because when he went back to his junkyard hideout, Gear has been like held captive by like Sinestro. And so he goes to fight Sinestro until John shows up. And then all of a sudden, John has his powers again. And Sinestro doesn't understand how. And he tells him straight up that Static recharged his ring. It's a different type of energy that's in there now, but is doing the job. And so they like have it out. And Static frees Gear. And John is just putting the hurting on like Sinestro, showing why he's one of the greatest Green Lanterns of all time. And after defeating him, he takes his yellow ring off and reabsorbs back his green energy. But during that fight, he also had help from Static and everything. And it was like a cool partnership, And so, Static is just like apologizing to John, and, he just lets him know that, it's all right and everything. And it's really cool to see those two like bond and like hang out, because they are two black superheroes. And, and it's rare to see that on a DC animated thing. Because think about it. Since Static Shock, when has there ever been a solo black cartoon superhero from DC? Or even Marvel for that matter? And there hasn't, And so, like, it's really cool to see that, and then they should have more. Like, there is Ion and Rocket, but they've only been featured in Justice League. Rocket got introduced later on in the first season, and then after that, they did that weird 5-year jump thing where she graduated to the Justice League, and now we barely see her. And it's just kind of like, that's not good enough. We want more. And then they added Static and Young Justice, a different version. And, I don't know what the world they did with him after the second season, because I don't particularly like the third or fourth and stuff. But, they need to bring back Static, and in a huge way. And I don't want to just see him in the movie. I want to see him in his own TV show. If they can give Black Lightning his own show, then give Static his. And it's still, nobody knows why exactly Black Lightning ended. It didn't get canceled, they ended it. Reasons some people think is because of behind the scene drama. I don't know. But it's just like, man, can everybody just get along? Happy Black History Month, everybody. I'll talk to you later. Bye.